We are live. That means you're up. Let's go.
John, and you know we have a TIC thing and it costs $1.
Not $1, it's $40.
Jared, please.
It's 40.
Jared is wrong. It is 100. I mean, it's $1.
$1. Okay, cool.
It's $1. So you have to get your money,
so
pay $1. And
Very
it starts at 7 p.m. in the morning.
It is
so you
not
have
7
to get
p.m.
ready.
7 p.m. in the morning. What's that?
Go. Yep,
Good night.
and Jan will be reaching very late because he sleeps a lot.
I wake up at 4:30 every morning.
Thank you for joining everybody's LinkedIn Live tonight. Thank you
Good night.
so much. This is LinkedIn today, and this is and if you don't know my name, this is Zoe Williams Best Mitchell. Thank you.
Okay. Ow.
It's good.
Love you. Good night. Go. Come on. We gotta start the show. Thank you.
Bye. Enjoy the show. Make sure I have popcorn and a family.
Yes. All right, folks. Yeah. Whew. Okay. So you all know the usual. You just need a little introduction from Zoe first. But yeah, TIC is coming up. Lyndon and I are extremely excited because we're passing through there tomorrow. I almost passed through today thinking it was today. But I think it was timely that both of us share some stuff that we had some really great traction on LinkedIn. So I think this is really timely. And let's look at it from two perspectives. So yes, actually, there are 4 perspectives tonight. If I'm saying this correctly. No, 3. Sorry. There's my perspective with regards to the 10 tips. Lyndon has his perspective with his tips. Then we are going to share, if you are attending just like us, because we're going there to prospect and look at business, we will share our tips in terms of what you need to do to get those opportunities. So, Lyndon, take it away. Let's go.
So,
by the way, I got new yellow shoes today. I got new yellow shoes. Shout out to my uncle. Thank you.
Right.
So I'm very happy. Right. New Balance 327.
Cool. So,
I'll be wearing that.
So, trade shows are a big thing, right? And when I say a big thing, it's a big thing from the standpoint of a lot of emphasis goes into it, a lot of money goes into it, sometimes a lot of resources and time goes into it. So when it comes to doing a trade show, before you even think of it, now again, we already know that TIC is tomorrow, but whether it's a trade show or attending an event, one of the things that you have to pay attention to is the objective and the alignment of that event and your organization. So the alignment as it relates to what is it that your organization needs to do, is it the right fit for where you need to go? Because what people fall into sometimes might be this. They may see, quote unquote, their competitor showing up at the event, and because they saw that their competitor went there last year, they feel that they need to be there this year. They don't know that the competitor may have sucked salt last year and got nothing, right?
Zero,
right? But because they just saw their competitor, and the competitor may have just tried something just to see what it's going to be like, to see what the return would have been, and to see what would have been a good fit for them, they say, hey, well, these people were there last year. I think we should be there too. And you thinking that is without any well-aligned strategy. So my first tip would be understand alignment and what. And let me start with alignment first, because there are other things to tie into the whole alignment conversation. But understand as to whether that event is well aligned with what your organization's objectives are. And what are those objectives? Well, I would like to assume that you have a budget that you would have done for a year, and however you intend to achieve your budget, that TIC is going to support that, because again, I will end with something that I learned from a CEO that I repeat over and over. Every expense must have an offsetting revenue. So if you know that you're going to be attending this thing and it's going to cost you money to be there as an exhibitor or as a sponsor, what is the potential return on investment that goes into that? And that ties into other things that Jared and I will have listed out, but we're going to go with that. So the first one I would say, JB, is alignment.
Lovely, and I agree with you 100% there. What I'm going to do is I'm putting up my tip. So my tip is aligned with yours, of course. And for those of you who joined the show for the first time, let us know if you're attending TIC this year. Jean-Marie, Arlene, Gail, good night. I saw Hans Evans pop in there for a while, so good night. Tobago Auto Rentals. And this is not a plug, but if you're ever going to Tobago and you need to rent a vehicle, Tobago Auto Rentals is A-class service. And you know I'm big on service. I spend money when you give me good service, and those guys are awesome. Suck Shop, good night. All right, so here's this. It's along the lines of what you said, Lyndon. And I put a link to the post, by the way, Lyndon. They should drop your link to the post as well.
All right, I'll do
As
that.
an organization, as Lyndon led it, you need to understand your outcome. And the outcome is three things. Are you there in the expo to create awareness, which is the most basic level, because you're probably launching a new product, is a new business? Are you there to generate leads, which is the second thing? Or are you there to actually sell your products and services? Because there are companies who go there and on the final day, which is Saturday, the public day, they sell to the public. So you have to understand what is your goal. And I think if you tie that back into, like, in terms of a target, as in we wanna make sure 10,000 people get flyers and are aware of what we do, or we want to make sure and get 500 leads, or we want to sell 10,000 of this particular product there, you must understand what are those outcomes.
Yes, so I agree with that. And as Jared said, it would be, and what are the objectives that you have there? Because I know you spoke about awareness, you also spoke about leads. Is there anything else that you wanna add inside of there as well?
No, as I said, awareness, leads, and sales. Those are the three
And
things that
sales, right? Good.
yeah. So I think, so as I say, you must know those outcomes. I think that is really, really important.
Cool.
Hi, Gina. Good
Right.
night. Well, big up
So
to the CTAL crew.
hi, good night, Gina. So yeah, so I like that in terms of objectives and outcomes. So now that we have that, I like to go into what are the pre. Now, this particular point that I have here, again, this is all leading up, right? So you know what your objectives are, you understand the alignment. So what
Oh
are your
yeah, the
pre
lead up.
and post, right? Pre and post, and I'll just start with pre now, engagement strategies. Because again, you don't just want to show up on the day and whoever comes in comes in. But again, if you have a particular strategy where you would love to meet some of those customers that you have sent quotations out to, or potential buyers, and they are already part of your email list, you can now create an email campaign as a pre-engagement marketing and sales strategy, right?
I
So
honestly
leading up,
completely forgot about that. That's an excellent point.
yeah, right. So if you're looking at, so we have 1 2, so this, I'm going to make this a third one. So your pre-engagement strategy should be building up on the awareness. So this is where your leads come together, your sales reps come together with marketing. So okay, these are the customers that we would have pulled in through our social media campaigns, through guys being on the field, etc., etc. We want to let them know, hey, we're going to be at TIC. We would love to meet you there. Just come, just hang out, let's talk to us, that kind of thing. So you want to create a kind of an early vibe, but something that's kind of relaxed as well. So you should have a pre-engagement strategy. Yes, you should have a post-engagement strategy as well, but we'll talk about it as we go through the journey of the TIC event.
Well, my second point listed, and by the way, folks, if you think it's Mama Guy, like, you could go to the post in the link and see just if you think Belinda Knight is beer. So here's a fun fact about the show, folks. Shall we tell them this fun fact, Lyndon? About the core concept of this. I think you know where I'm headed. How much do we prepare for the show, Lyndon?
Not a lot.
So, and the only reason I'm mentioning that point is that if you all think like this is prepped and Lyndon and I have the points in sync, no. Like I did this post 2 days ago. Lyndon did your post what, last week or
No,
earlier?
is it? My post was, hold on, a month ago, boy.
You see? So here's my second point. Here's my second point, which goes in, is a complement to what you said. Create a list of companies that you'd like to connect with, because there'll be companies at the trade show you'd want to meet with, and it's possible that the decision makers will be at the booth.
Right. So I just making that, I just kind of fine tuning that as like 3A, because that's point number 3A, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I do like that a lot, JB, because again, you're being very specific as to who are the people that you want to meet. Yeah, you're being very specific of who are the people that you would like to meet on the day or within that particular period or within that particular time frame. Yeah.
Yep. And therefore,
Right.
as you said, the email marketing could have been sent out to them to invite them. And therefore, when you reach, somebody walk across to the booth to check to see if the person is there, and
Right.
invite them across. So
Yeah.
love it.
And what you could also have too is like, so check this out, right? Let's say you're sending something out a week before, letting them know that they're actually there, right? And as you say,
Mm-hmm.
let's say you highlighted a few people that you want to meet. Let's say you highlighted 10 potential leads and you have your booth set up in such a way where, um, excuse me, in such a way where the people can come and have that little sit down or huddle. Your second or third or how many email marketing campaigns you're sending out, it could be so personalized that it tells them, hey Jared, just want to let you know that we're looking forward to seeing you on any one of the days, and if you do show up, we actually have a little gift here for you. You understand? So you're giving them an
Ooh.
incentive. Yeah, you're giving them an incentive to attend the event. You understand?
Yo.
So again, it's just you're thinking creatively about what it is that you're doing. So you're saying, hey, we're going to be at booth number 978, and just letting you know we have some. So you can have a nice little bag with their name on it. Say, listen, just making sure that you actually show up. We're not playing around. If you do attend and you show up, any one of the reps that you meet, you have this to collect. So what you'll be doing, and you're taking the pictures and everything else. And again, that's going to fall into your post engagement strategies, talking about how it is that your event went and the things that actually came out of it.
That is crazy. Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. Your tip or my tip? No, yours. Okay.
I know. I think I just gave my tip, but or I just added
Oh,
to your tip there
okay.
as well. So I have something else, but I'll just go with what you have after that.
My other tip is focus on qualifying. A lot of times
Right.
I've seen in expos where persons spend time with the wrong person,
Mm-hmm.
and it means that the people who are qualified, who would meet, who be ideal clients, walk past your booth, or you don't get the opportunity to chat with them. Now, here's the side tip for this: please do not judge by looks, because a lot of times I see people ignore other persons in trade shows based on how they look, and they don't know who somebody is in an organization that can be useful for you. So what you have to do is create scripts and understand exactly how you're going to qualify somebody. A bold and trills and Island Gilman's Good Night. Nigel kind of selling his company selling to 4 trade shows in October, Lyndon. Alone.
4.
4.
Wow.
That's one a week. So here's what I mean, folks. So like I'll give you the perfect example. Back when I was Samsung and I would be doing trade shows, not trade shows, we would launch a product like the new Galaxy S22 Ultra. Remember, at those booth days, you have a lot of people visiting the booth. So your purpose is to qualify quickly. So
Right.
you have to come up with a question that lets you know how can this person, is this person interested in what I do? So and actually let me switch it to something more relevant. So let's just say when I was at DHL, right? In DHL, when we used to be part of trade shows, something I would always just say to people when we were there is, hey, hi, good day. When last has your company shipped anything out of Trinidad? Or does your company ship anything out of Trinidad? So I wouldn't say I'm from DHL because duh, I'm there with the banner and everything. But I would make sure, and as I say, ask a question to, immediately get that conversation going.
Yep. I do agree with that. And as Jared said, excuse me, which is something that is is not well looked at, right? We must be able to give the team the ability to um, be very, very fluent on the day. So creating those scripts is extremely important. That's a real value add for a team member because they can have those little scripts as little play cards in front of them. So
Yep.
even if they're standing at a desk and stuff and they see somebody walking up, they can say, okay, I'm going to use this particular opener today or this particular opener with this. So they can have a series of 5 different openers when people walk up. So it's not the same standard thing over and over, especially if it is that you have, um, especially if it is that you have a booth with stuff that people may not be familiar with, right? So again, you might want to be creating awareness there, that kind of thing. Or if it is that you are creating stuff that people are already familiar with, then your strategy will be driving sales, so you're pushing people to get stuff off the shelves, etc., etc. So again, you got to be thinking about that, right? So I'll kind of stay on the promotional side a little bit, because all of this is part of the event. Because based upon what you said, with the focusing on qualifying, I would always say also focus on creating an experience, right? So that engagement, because what happens a lot of times, Jared, when we go to these things, these guys and they sometimes standing up in their own group. So you have the sales rep standing up by themselves talking, or they're behind a table, that kind of thing. So they're not on the floor. As a matter of fact, Jared, should they have a table?
That is my fourth point, my friend. I don't know how
Oh,
they
look
feel.
at that. Yeah.
No, I don't mind if there's a table. I don't think the table should be the front, and I agree. A lot
Right.
of times, like a table to me is a barrier to the person. Table should be on the side, and it should be open so people feel invited to walk in to your booth, if that's possible, because that means you get them to stop.
Yeah.
And I think that is a much better way to do it, because too many times I see people sitting down in the booth and they to the back, they're not making eye contact.
They're on your
Stand to the front,
phones. Exactly.
you're on your phone.
Yeah.
Listen, when I'm in trade shows, again, when you're out in a crowd and you're qualifying, I am in front. I'm making sure and make eye contact with people, saying hi, because I want to start those conversations. That person is
Right.
unlikely
Yeah.
to pass through again.
Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah.
And so focusing on an experience, guys, which means that you have to kind of remove whatever kind of barriers that's actually there, because it's
Mm-hmm.
extremely important that when people leave, they want to see. Because I mean, it's how many exhibitors are at TIC? Well, I think it's a lot. Hundreds of exhibitors are there, right? So you want people. How are you going to stand out at the end of that? So is it that by the time they walk away, by the time they walk down and bend the corner and then come back up another aisle, they forget about you? But you
Long
want to
time.
create an experience, right? And that is what. So that is also part of, and sometimes again, part of me creating that experience ties into the material that you are giving your reps on the day. So again, Jared spoke about scripts, and when I say material, we're not talking flyers, but material for them to sell, material for them to practice, to say, okay, are we going to maybe use this line? And we didn't say it from before, but these things should be practiced before the day. So
Yep.
you know that you're
Nice
going to
nice
TIC,
prep.
that's prep work. So you know that you're going to TIC, take one of your sales meetings or your huddles and practice people coming into your booth and everything else. These are things because sorry, it's also going to be a good experience for your reps as well.
So let me just talk a couple of comments that a lot of people are dropping. So Nigel kind of saying we do lots of research into shows, past attendees, titles, company lists, etc., which I think is excellent. Because you could always look at the booklets and stuff from the companies who attended before. Gail is saying a lot of people don't like scripts, but I find they're very useful, especially for your team. All they need to do is add their personality to avoid sounding robotic. Correct.
Yeah.
Colin has a nice point. I like this point. Instead of flying to every trade show event under the sun, paying for flights, hotel, food, exhibit booths, etc., why not run Facebook ads targeting the conference venue address and mapping it towards the age demographic of the attendees? That is brilliant. I can't
That's nice.
that is like
That is nice. That is nice. Yeah. Yeah.
that is insanely brilliant to us.
That is nice. Yeah. So
That is
hold on. Huh?
insane. That's like okay, I didn't think of that. Okay. And Nigel is also saying he represents a SaaS company, so they don't just send sales reps, they also send their IT people too as well. So love it. They send the experts. They send the back-end people, especially when it's technical.
Especially when it's technical. And again,
Yeah.
and this is where now you're getting more of the company involved in the overall objective of generating revenue. You know,
Yeah.
they're selling as a team instead of just selling as well, the sales reps alone, that type of thing. So yeah, that's important. That's extremely, extremely important. You know. I think I lost count as to who was what. So the last thing that we were talking about was creating experience. Then we spoke about
And
removing the
standing from the
tables,
booth.
right? And so I would want to say now is that excuse me, I might want to just touch a little bit on the post event. So what happens now at the end? Because creating an experience is all about giving out giveaways, etc., etc. All right. Um, I think at the end of it, again, whatever your objective is, based upon if it is that you have captured a certain amount of leads, because remember Jared spoke about qualifying on the day, all right? So if it is that you did meet 10 people or 100 people out of that 100 who are some of your hot, cold, warm leads, the ones closest to buying now, etc. And now you're bringing that into a strategy, a sales strategy that now moves them through your sales funnel. Because yes, you have these leads coming in, but not all of those leads may be good leads. This is where, of course, your sales reps could be doing that kind of vetting from before. But now you want to be able to
Yep.
now bring the leads in and put them into a sales strategy. So this is post event I'm talking about here. Um, excuse me, on the day. Sorry, not on the day,
Okay.
but post event. Yeah.
So let me my only tips from yours, Linda. This is the first time we off. That's okay. But it's an
Mm-hmm.
important point. Please, please, and it goes to the booth idea in terms of how persons stand up. Do not send people who aren't people persons. Don't send
Very
Sour
good.
Sam. Don't send Irritable Irene. Don't send people who are, I won't say introverted, but people who get burnt out from talking to too many people. Right? Because that's not necessarily introverts, because introverts could give you that over a period of time. But I see too many times companies would send somebody in a booth. They're sitting down to the back, they're not making eye contact. And when they actually talk to them, it's attitude. Why do you have them there? And then you'd want to tell the expo, the trade show organizers, we can get ROI from the trade show. No, your employee wasted your ROI. Your employee destroyed your ROI because they interacted with no one. They were sour.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't feel to talk to people. That doesn't work on a foot. Oh, bonus point. Wear comfortable shoes, folks. You're on your foot all day. You should be standing, not sitting.
Yep.
Okay? Right.
You can go ahead. I think where I am right now is at the end. So you may have a couple more
Oh,
that you would
so
want to
let me
fill.
drop it. Let me drop in this next one which relates it. Please do not hire models and do not train them on the product or service, or at least let them at least be able to tell somebody about the product or service. I remember going to it's not the energy, is it energy conference?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the booths hired some models there. You know the usual thing, they want to put a pretty face, but they know
Right.
nothing about the products. And I'm like, why have them there? Because you
Good.
lost the opportunity. The people come to your booth, but they're not taking business cards. They don't understand anything involved in the sales process. So you completely lose that. And there's a minor point where you could possibly lose a little bit of credibility too by having those types of persons in your booth. So all I'm
Yep.
saying, folks, is please, please, please just make sure, and if you can't get your team in the booth, just make sure the people who are there know about your product or service and could capture information and direct persons to the relevant sources if need to. I'm
Yeah.
not
No
saying you need to
characters.
answer every single question, but No, but by the way, I remember the first trade show I ever attended, which is the biggest OTC, the offshore training convention or something. So in Texas, it's a massive, massive event.
Mm-hmm.
A broken night, and I remember the first time I attended that, which is a bonus. So one of the points I have, they had these sexy models walking around, and on their pants had followers to booth 847. So their job wasn't to talk; their job was just to walk around
Yeah.
and get
To
people
walk
attention.
around. Right.
Yeah,
Right. 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 Yeah.
right. My next point you would like, so you will let me know what yours is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, go ahead.
So So
Oh,
no, you go ahead. As I say, I will talk. I will go a little bit into the automation and stuff like that now. With after the event, so I'm at the after the event phase.
oh. So let's highlight a couple of things first. Hold on. Brian is saying correct based on performance. I think your top performer should be sent. Not necessarily. It doesn't always have to be top performers. Because again, top performers may have their own rhythm. If they want to go, cool. But to me, I let top performers do what they want to do. Right? I might honestly send one or two reps who might be good at sales and need more practice. And there's like in essence like a face-to-face cold calling.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I agree. I don't think a top performer needs to be there.
Yeah. Gail is saying, what about a poster with a QR code which booth visitors can scan their phones and go straight to your website with a special offer? Brilliant. Love it. Instead of giving out brochures, you can even use this method to collect email addresses or answer one qualifying question. Brilliant.
No,
On point, Gail. I love it.
That's solid. That's
I
solid.
love it. I have to take note of this. I have to take note of this.
That's really
Then
grabbing
Maya
the
is
idea.
saying, view exhibitor list and pull targets from it, plot out the logistics of each stop, have a plan in place prior so that it's not to waste time and energy. That's if you're visiting or passing through.
Yep.
Right, love it. Right. And then, okay, let me go to my point here. Let me drop this in. You'll love this, Lyndon. Have an online system to record visitors and upload business cards. A lot of times, like this thing of dropping the card into a box is cool, but I see too many times people visiting the booth and they can't capture the information. That is opportunity loss. Even if the person passes through for a second, even if name and company is all they could take and a phone number, please, you should not be having pen and paper. People should be able to that tablet.
Right.
That is directly connected to your CRM.
Right.
Perfectly hot.
So
who said that? Right? But you know what you mean, folks. You know what we mean.
Yeah.
Right?
So I would add to that, because that's actually part of my point. So that we'll use that as point number 9 in this one. So once you scan anything, or if there's any information captured, that information should automatically carry the customer into some sort of automation sequence. So which would mean the customer would have walked away, but the sales rep would have taken that information, let's say from a form, and by the time they bend the corner, or it delays until the next morning or later in the afternoon, it would say, "Hi Jared, thank you for visiting us at booth, whatever."
Nice.
And it immediately puts them into a thank you, and then it could fall into a sequence. And those sequences could be based on however the sales rep qualifies them and puts them into the CRM. So what we're talking about here now, guys, is using technology and then automation to put customers in the respective buckets. And then you're using automation, whether it's tied to your CRM or not, to be able to push that information, to feed the customer the information the right way. Meaning, if Jared is interested in product X and I was interested in product Y, we get welcome messages or thank you for visiting, but Jared is carried in one direction and I'm carried in a different direction because of our interests. It should not be a standard thing across the board. Again, that is how you begin personalizing the experience of visiting your booth.
Yep. So look, Nigel is saying they have the every roll-up banner they have now has QR codes, which is excellent. And Gail says no to put in business cards and fish bowls in 2022. And for those of you who know me, I have my my NFC call card on the back of my phone. So I have no business cards. I tap on the back of your phone to share my contact info with you. So that's what I do.
For
call cards are over.
And I would say don't collect call cards. The one thing I would say is that HubSpot gives you the ability to scan QR codes and scan call cards, and you can give the person back the call card. We don't need to be collecting a stack of cardboard that we know that we're not going to do anything else with after.
Except throw away.
Yeah.
There's no purpose, right? So for those of you joining us, as you realize, we're talking about tips to maximize the company's ROI at trade shows. I just realized it's spelled, I use the wrong grammar on the LinkedIn page. You all know me, folks. Typos is life. Apologies. But what we're just sharing here is 10 tips. Go through the chat because Nigel dropped some great tips. Gail dropped some great tips. And also, what's this guy's name? How come I'm not seeing it now? Colin also dropped some fire tips, which I'll pop back up here. Just so to see quickly. Some really great tips and advice from everybody. And we know a lot of people are entering and going to more trade shows. So things like this are going to help you really maximize, because even if for people who attend TIC tomorrow, you could implement a lot of these things to your company in the next 12 hours
Couple
before you
hours,
go.
yeah.
It's not that hard to do.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, where's this? Hold on. Where's Think Tags? Is this the is
That
Think
might just
Tag
be, yeah, that
the
might
same like the same
thing like
circle thing I
circle
have?
dot. Yeah, circle dot.
Yes. Yeah, mine is circle dot.
Yeah. But again,
Abi.
these strategies are all part of your. So look at it like this, folks. It is not just a matter of showing up at an event. We spoke about having a strategy and an objective, and first thinking about is this aligned to us? Is this what we want to do? Is this where we need to be? Right? That's one. Apart from that, too, excuse me, the other thing beyond that is now what is the team going to be doing pre the event, on the day of the event, and post the event, and what different bits of technologies could we be using to make that entire experience seamless, both for the reps on the day, right, and then also for your customers. You know, there was something that I introduced a company to, and they went to two exhibitions, and it was real interesting that the conversion rate of the conversations that the rep has was over 60%. And this was conversion rate from speaking to the people, then getting them to fill out the form, right? So this was their success coming from the event. So from the event on the day, having the conversation, and then moving from the conversation straight into filling out a form. But the reason why I can give the percentage is because the percentage was captured in a CRM. Yeah. So
Okay.
if anybody wants to understand the performance, then you can use technology to spit out that information in terms of the way that you actually need it. Yeah.
That's brilliant.
And I think the last point that I have, JB, that I would add in there is that based upon how you qualify the individual, based upon how your interest, their areas of interest. I saw somebody spoke about using a portfolio. I don't know if people will always need to see a portfolio on the day. That's really part of your website. You can talk about the jobs you've done, but I don't think on the day we need to be talking about portfolios. I think what we need to be talking about really is how can we help you based upon the services that we have, right? Because again, awareness, interest, desire, and action. If you're following those two things, you don't want to spend too much time talking about yourself, but you really want to be focusing a lot on the emphasis on the value that you could bring to the customer based upon what they need, what their immediate or future needs might be, based upon the services or products that you're actually selling. The portfolio stuff could always come after if they're interested in knowing a little bit more about you that you could send to them later on.
I didn't think about that. Just one sec. Brian, expand on what you mean, digital portfolio. And good night to everybody who's joining us on Instagram, because I see a lot more new people jumping. Let me just back here to my points. I do have a post meeting within 24 hours to analyze the leads and disperse them. Um, in addition to qualifying, add an additional point of teach your team to ask for the sale, whether it be qualifying to get information or you're selling a product or service. I think it's important for them to understand the types of conversations they need to have with people because, again, and the only reason why I'm mentioning this, we had the big Agri Forum Expo in the Savannah recently, and there were lots of times where, and you saw it, Linda, they just people talking to you, and all they're mentioning, hey, Renee! All they're mentioning is the
Themselves
product and the
and the
features,
company.
and they're
Yeah, yeah.
not asking you for
They're
the
not doing value
business or
selling. Yeah,
asking you
yeah.
nothing at all in terms of if this is something that might be beneficial to you.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, my dad was there with me. I think my father, parents is like one of those people who's like some mama guy people. So
Right.
they
Oh
just
gosh.
they
Yeah,
just
just
be
listening to
my
you.
father just no, my father. I think my father, like my wife was pointing it out. I think because my dad, like sometimes like he retired, so like I think this is first time heading out in a little while because my mom went away for a while. So I said, "Come, let's go to the agri farm." I think because he didn't golf, but he's just having fun, having conversations. So he just leading people along talking.
Right. But did anybody ask him for his business? Did anybody ask him for his
No, that's the
information?
problem. Like he
Again,
asked
that's
so many questions. Nobody said, "Hey, let's do this," or "You should buy this." Like no one, even down to his favorite thing in the world, which is orchids. and the people still didn't take opportunity to like, and he would have buy it.
But
This man love orchids.
yeah.
He would have buy it, and it was real nice. He would have buy it. Why? Never ask for the same. So you have to teach them to do that. And then my last bonus point is have someone to walk around, which is slightly different from the promo girls, to walk around to get persons to your booth. Sometimes you're in an expo and it's not in the ideal location, and you need to get people out there just walking and tell one or two people at the expo that's in a location. So you should be prepared for that as well. Always have that in the back of your pocket. Right? So yeah, those are my points. Right?
And that's mine as well.
Rennie, I agree with you. And I have to do a LinkedIn post about that. A lot of people are afraid to talk, to ask for the business, and a lot of people are afraid to challenge somebody's objection. Yeah, absolutely right. Yep. And kudos to you for spelling free the right way. That is the right way. The A. And that's how you know. If you don't know somebody from the Caribbean, that's how you know they're from the Caribbean.
That's how you drop the A. You drop the A.
Oh, check this out. Hold on. I'm going to highlight some points here. Hold on. No, wrong one. Hold on. Nigel is saying all the brochures are digital, no longer printed and in a USB stick. So every trade show gets its own UTM code. So each PDF link on that USB is trackable to the show. Woo! Damn. So when the person pulls it up, you understand where they come in. Oh my.
But what's the conversion rate some people using the USBs after? So like how many people actually use the USB after? Just asking. Because again, those things.
Yeah, that'd be good to know, Nigel.
It's fancy. I mean, it's nice, but what is the conversion rate of having people actually now going into the USB to access it? Again, I'm just asking that from a high level standpoint now because it's nice, but it would be also good to understand what's the conversion rate based upon how many people actually now use the USB to go back in to check your stuff, and how does that feed itself into a sale. So 2 sets of conversion rates.
Yeah. Gail is saying, going back to Colin's point about using Facebook targeted ads, with the lack of face-to-face conversation at the booth, which can promote long-term relationship building, be a downside. I think from the Facebook ad running is just to get people aware that you're going to be at the expo, which I think is important. And Nigel is actually saying for them, Facebook ads is more bottom of the funnel and it still has a low lead score. Brad, I agree with you. Let me pop this up. Google ads work excellent for these type of things, right? On Instagram, which is Rennie Lindo. She's an amazing stylist. She says maybe depends on what is on the USB, like if it's a lead gen or offer. So like Linda, remember you were saying it. So like if you take the USB and open the brochure and you follow through and you reach out to us, there's an offer that we give you, which could probably be a free consultation,
right?
A free something, a free this.
But again, remember, and again, I'm just using this to just drive the point. I'm not shooting the point down. I'm just making sure we drive the point that you may not. That is not the only USB you're going to be receiving, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you have something set up that reminds the customer, or your team is calling the customer to at least remind them to plug in the USB to access the offer. You understand where I'm coming from? Because it's not your stuff alone they're walking out with on the day. They're leaving with everybody who have some stuff, some what do we call it, swag bags to give away, and I can tell you from my past experiences, I've had flash drives, it was just there, pens and all these little different things that I didn't really use until I needed it later.
Hold on, can we talk about the fact that promotional pens write way better than regular pencils? let's just sidetrack on that. Also, let me just jump in this. Rennie and CLR code, I think you all should connect with each other. What you all do is absolutely complementary. You all are sisters from another mother, if that's the correct way to say it. You all need to connect. You'll absolutely see why. Rennie, check out her profile. CLR, check out her profile. Chantel, you would understand what I mean. You all are like sisters, right? Marcello, good night. Gail is saying, same thing. I would walk around and see what other companies are doing so I could get ideas to the booth for the next trade show. So yeah, so that's it. Let us know if these ideas are helpful. Oh, let's talk about this. If I think we're talking about if you right, Lyndon and I are attending on tomorrow. We'll be there in the afternoon. And for how I'm looking at it, I am honestly going to see what companies are doing. There's some specific companies that I'm interested in seeing what they're doing and actually interacting with them, because I want to use this as a follow-up to ask them, just based on these same points, how is your team going about utilizing these leads to capture to make sure that they get back your ROI, or to make sure these leads fall into your pipeline. So we do have a couple, I think about 3 to 5 of our past clients are going to be there. So that would be good for us to do some follow up and stuff on them. But if you're trying to go to a trade show to generate and get business, the first thing I'd recommend to you is do not go in bad taste and pitch, right? Do not go and talk about what you offer. Instead, of course, do the sales thing and learn about what they're doing. You can actually use the same questions and ask them, hey, I'm just going around interviewing, like, what is your purpose, or what do you hope to get out of the expo? Or you can even see just how they interact with customers, and that can give you some proper insights in terms of what they're doing. So I highly, highly recommend that. It's not anything overcomplicated. It's like Linda and I going with a simple game plan. Have conversations, understand what companies are trying to do, and then use that as follow-up after. And because we have lives like this and we have our different articles, we could follow up and send that to them. Right?
So
So
I'd like to read something from Joe Money 30,
yeah,
right,
Joel, what's
on
up, Joe?
Instagram. He is saying here that at the OTC Expo, right, you are given cards at the entrance that you can scan at each booth that will capture all of your personal details, I guess personal details. Plus, you can add a comment upon submission. He said he's saying that we need something like that here in Trinidad and Tobago. Can
I'm
I?
sure we're gonna see something like
Yeah.
that tomorrow. I'm sure. Have to be.
Yeah. Here's one thing I also want to say, and Karen isn't on this, but it's something that I've been talking to Karen about a lot, and it's very, very important that we also pay attention to certain things as it relates to writing, because this, if you found that, let's say you did go to the event and you found that the event was successful, however you want to measure your success, what is going to make the other events successful moving forward is writing about it. So if you want to do a blog about it, if you want to build any SEO about it, you can write your experience about what we did and the people that we met, and you showcase the people, all those pictures you took, showcase them in the blog, tag your customers in the blog, that kind of thing. So you start building affinity, you start building community as well, right? And you could also use that to say why to visitors. So you're using that as material for your next year's blog to say, here's a reason as to why you should come to the thing because of what we did last year, right? So again, having a digital presence in terms of things like your blogs is extremely important now, because you want to now have that digital presence. You want to use your SEO, you'll tag your blog in a particular way. And if it is that you recognize that there were certain things about, if your sales team would have brought information back to you about the customer's level of awareness or lack thereof, or things that the customers you think that you need to talk about or write about, create those things as content and start pushing that through your email marketing campaigns. Because again, it is not just about making phone calls to build on the awareness, that kind of thing, but the awareness may have to be nurtured over a particular period of time based upon what you sell. So, as I say, Karen not on the call, but I've been studying this thing between Marcus, Karen, and HubSpot, and seeing certain things coming up from a result standpoint. And I think that having that digital presence, showing your expertise, not pitching in your blogs, but answering questions in your blogs that you would have picked up from the event, would be a very good point, with a very good strategy post conference as well, leading into pre-conference, trade show.
Lyndon, I have a wild idea for us, which will be the final thing. How about when we go tomorrow, we come back with a rating of the best boots, like the boots that actually did a good job selling? As in
That's
conversations, we could probably find 3 pieces of criteria to rate it on. But I think we could do that and actually point out the boots that gave us the best experience, that actually made us want to buy or find out more about the company. And I think what might be the top key thing is if they're able to ask us for the sale and capture our info.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's a good one. Look, Nigel gave he gave a response to the question on the conversion
Oh yeah, he
rates on
said
the USBs.
0.8% conversion rate.
Right, and is that 0.8% for sale or 0.8% for again? I just being thing here because we're looking at is it
No, it's a good question. It's a good
yeah,
question.
so is it towards the sale or is it just to get that first meeting? Because remember, after the event, you want to have the meeting. So is that 0.8% for the meeting or 0.8% all the way down to the sale? You don't have to answer that here, Nigel. I'm just saying that if you really want to be strategic in thinking of conversion rate, because that's what Jared and I do. When customers bring certain things up, we start kind of drilling into it to rationalize it better. Not saying it's a bad idea, but
Oh, you
how
see
do
on
we
the
now
sale.
increase on the sale, right? So again, you would know if that's good enough for you, that kind of thing. So
Video boss Juma Banner says in the bill, and Juma, we not wrapping up, boy. You might have a catchy replay. You know, we apologize. We apologize. We're just talking about 10 tips to maximize your company's ROI at Trade Expos. But as we wrap up the show, I just want to say thank you to everybody: Nigel, Colin, Maya, Gail,
Marcello,
the other guy who was in earlier, Marcello, Brian. I think the name was McGrawer. I mean, thank you as always for contributing, and of course share it.
yeah,
Joel, Renee,
right, that's what I was
Chantel,
not going to say. Let's not forget the
right?
Instagram people. Yeah, Brent.
Instagram people. Shout out to and special shout out to Rennie for spelling afraid wrong. Okay. And last but not least, shout out to the free pens in expos because they write really well. Have a good night, folks. Laters.
Peace.